Over in the space of DC Comics, there's been some big changes happening over in the streets of Gotham, as a mysterious family known as the Orghams have been making big shakeups across Gotham City. The Orghams have stated that they claim ownership over Arkham Asylum and even made a bid on the infamous Batman landmark over in Gotham City. My name is Arico Braddock, and today let's go ahead and dive into the newest issue of Detective Comics, issue 1066, to see just how far the Orghams have infiltrated Gotham. But before we get deeper into the video, wanted to go ahead and encourage you guys to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. Without further ado, I want to introduce the wonderful creative team behind Detective Comics 1066. This issue is written by Ram V, illustrated by Ivan Reis. We have inks from Danny Miki, colors from Dave Stewart, and letters from Ariana Maher. There is a gorgeous issue from Evan Cagle, a cover from Evan Cagle that I'm going to show you in just a moment. But first, I want to introduce the backup story, and specifically the creators behind the backup story. So the backup story is called Two-Face in a Tale of Three Halves. This is part 2 of the tale of the Two-Face story. It's written by Simon Spurrier, illustrated by Hayden Sherman, colors from Nick Filardi, and we have letters from Steve Wands. And without further ado here, I'm going to show you the gorgeous cover for the issue. This was posted over from Adventures in Poor Taste. A big thanks to Adventures in Poor Taste for posting these comic book previews so incredibly quickly. I love the style that the covers for Detective Comics have taken on. I love the interesting, borders of the issue and the way that there's these like curves around some of the logos for the issue as well. I just think also the logo for the title is always placed in an interesting way. And really, I think from a design standpoint, these covers are going to make Detective Comics really stand apart from other titles, including other Batman titles on store shelves. So I think this issue already has things off on the right foot here. And I want to show a little bit of the interiors and just kick things off by talking a little bit about the artwork for the series. So the artwork in the past couple issues has been mostly drawn by Raphael Albuquerque, but this issue we are getting the pleasure of seeing Ivan Reis drawing some of the interiors for the issue, and this is a really fantastic thing because I am such a big fan of Ivan Reis's artwork. Ivan Reis, I think, always makes a comic book better with some of the incredibly detailed facial expressions and some of the water that's drawn here. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love this facial expression from Bruce as he's being choked out in the water. I just think this looks absolutely horrifying. And maybe from another artist, that facial expression wouldn't look so dynamic and so arresting right off of the page itself. Over on this second page, I just love how the dynamic is kind of rolled out here between, Jim and Bruce. I love how they're just kind of catching up here after Bruce is recovering from a vicious battle with the Orghams in the last installment of the series. And also take a look at this, double page spread over from Reis, introducing kind of the title page and the name of the issue along with the creative team. I think it is just gorgeous. I love how versatile Reis is as an artist. This issue has actually quite a few action scenes, but they're interspersed with moments of dialogue where two people are just essentially catching up, just like we're seeing with this issue. Because even though, as I stated earlier, there is an interesting kind of resurfacing of a traditional Batman villain at the end of the issue, but the bulk of the issue is made up of tense conversations between, the Orghams, as well as really advanced characterization over from Ram V for Two-Face, and there's some sleuthing from Batman along the way as well. Probably the biggest thing that this issue does is really flesh out Two-Face as a character and show how some of his motivations are different than, I would say, A, when the series first started, and B, across most of the context with how people tend to use this character. Ram V is really taking Two-Face in a dark corner, of his villainous career. But we also get all of these different shades of the character fleshed out with lots of characterization here. And there is so much motivation behind everything that he's doing in the issue. I just think this issue in particular is very creative. And I think even despite the fact that Two-Face has done really horrible things, I think you are going to connect with him in some way. We may as well go ahead and talk about the backup story for the issue. I love how Simon Spurrier takes some of the plot threads that Ram V introduces in the main story and essentially just dials them up to 11 in this backup comic. The artwork from Hayden Sherman perfectly captured a Two-Face sort of on the run and unconfident with some of his locations and places that he's dealing with, and just the sense of dread that he feels across this backup was such a wonderful characterization for Harvey Dent. I wish more comics did what this one did and basically introduce a plot thread in the main story and really kind of sell and show how complicated and nuanced the plot thread is by expanding in on it in the backup story. I think just the way this issue is structured is incredibly clever. So I was looking up to see if anybody had any criticisms about Ram V's run over on Detective Comics so far. One of the big things that I noticed was a lot of people seem to be complaining about the pacing of the title. I think this issue has perfectly fine pacing because essentially Bruce is recovering after a huge battle with the Orghams that happened last issue, and Ram V is teasing kind of the next direction and adding some more characterization to both Harvey Dent and some of the other characters in the Orgham family like Arzan. And then after that, essentially, the issue does a wonderful job kind of dialing up the tension to 11 and introducing a familiar Batman villain with a completely new context. So I think this installment of the series in particular does such a wonderful job introducing so many facets of Batman in the span of just kind of one issue itself. You're going to get the really familiar, Batman action scenes. You're going to get the tense kind of Bruce Wayne, dialogue and exposition scenes. Plus, you're getting a really epic, opening sequence to the issue, calling on some of the dark and noir nature of the series that really bolstered Detective Comics to the place it is today. If that wasn't enough, the backup story has some additional, really harrowing and, horrific characterization for Two-Face over from Spurrier and Sherman. Overall, I think this series has done an incredible job, finding a new way for Batman as a character to explore some of his surroundings in a different context. I think some of the work that they're doing with the Orghams is kind of revolutionary in introducing a fascinating new group of villains over to Batman in the DC universe. There seems to be something really special happening over in the pages of Detective Comics, and I would really encourage you guys to go ahead and check it out before you're going to see, the Orghams introduced in other media, as I hope they will be in the months and years to come. Did you like this issue as much as I did? I want you to go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for coming to check out our video review for Detective 1066, and we'll be back for more wonderful comic book content. We'll see you very soon. Bye.